What's up, guys? So today is Friday. We have a 4-day weekend, so we're gonna spend time here today, Friday, working on the bike. Last time we built this battery mount, and today so far all I've done is tacked on this little bracket here in the back. This is where we're gonna mount it, and I'll show you that in a little bit. So that's one project I'm gonna try to knock out today on the Virago project. The other is the fuel lines. So I have the fuel line. It's some braided. This is nylon. And then we have Earl's fuel filter going on it. And then these beautiful color fittings from colorfittings.com. It's an amazing company. I actually ordered the wrong fittings. I ordered 45-degree ones and let them know. And they were very kind to take them back and then ship these correct ones out to me. So we have these 90-degree ones. And this is, the purple on this is just amazing. And then we have these, which are just butt end ones. So you have your clamps you can clamp on. This is gonna go on to the carburetor itself, and black on purple looks amazing. Same thing with Earl's, the purple and the black look amazing. This is all 4-and fittings for this. And we also have a fuel shutoff valve we'll be using, because I'm not using a actual petcock to the tank. We've actually converted it to an and fitting, a male 4-and, sorry. And so yeah, so I wanted to cut that out so we have an inline fuel shutoff. And then also today we're gonna do this bracket for the license plate. This was an eBay buy, cheap. The only problem I really have with it is the quality's not bad, but it's quite heavy. It's steel. And then, I don't know if you guys can see this, but one of the bolts looks pretty shitty right from the factory. But I believe this was like right around 20 bucks off of eBay. Came with this piece, and this piece, and you just kind of put it together for what you want. It also has the ability to mount lights on it. So yeah, there's that. Do a little bit of welding on this to get it to fit exactly where I want it to, but this is the other project. And then we have actually one more project. So to make this side of the bike not look like the tank's just kind of gapped up off here, I made these plates. Has some stainless steel mesh. I'm sorry, I don't know off the top of my head what size this is. I'll post it in the description. But then what I did was I just put some tabs on the back and threaded them so that way it's removable, because it does block off the ability to work up under here, and then also to get to the shock. So we just have these little thumb adjusters. These come off, so we have to make another one for the other side. The way I did this, actually, it came out really nice. So these are actually, if I make an exact copy of this, but just inverted, it'll work perfectly on the other side. And as you can see, I just made a little frame for the steel mesh. The steel mesh is too thin to weld right up against the plate or the sheet metal itself. Plus, it's stainless steel, and then trying to mix it with the mild steels wasn't working. So yeah, those just sit up there. I have the third mount I have to put up under here. So we gotta make 2 of these, or another one of these, and then we gotta mount them up so we can finish up that. And then the only thing I actually got done today was the fuel system. The main thing is I was trying to make brackets to fit. This is our first attempt. It was a 1-inch piece of steel. And what I was gonna do was actually just run some washers or some sealing washers between for kind of comfort, but I really couldn't figure out anything. And then the other issue I was running into is between the thickness of this and the washers, I wasn't able actually to seal the and fittings onto whatever I was using. Trial 2, we went to this, and we were gonna use some grommets. These back here, if you're looking at using one of these kits. The reason I really like shit like this, even though it's not really like great quality, Harbor Freight has these stuff and they're cheap. If anything, I like using them for like figuring things out. So it might not be exactly what I want, but what I can usually do is figure out, okay, this is kind of where I'm going with it, and then try to figure out if there's something better. But what I did was I actually took 2 of these, and then just leaving the end part, I actually just cut off one of the edges, but I left the like inner ring. So this was one attempt. I kind of cut the hole too big, did this, and it fit better. And because the washer's so thin, I was able to do it correctly, but then I made another one, and what I did was actually ground the actual whole piece of metal down to the correct thickness so it would work. So what we have here is the tank. We have a 1/4 inch MPT to a 4 male, and then we're going to a 90 degrees, and then into this. I was gonna throw the fuel filter first, but I realized if I ever want to take the tank off, what I can do is I can shut the fuel off here, disconnect here, or if I ever want to drain, then it'd be easier than having to take all this off if I ever want to take the tank off. So this is a little bit easier setup for me, as I was thinking. So running this, and as you can see, there's the grommet. It's between this, and then there's a little small, just fuzzy piece of, we'll check out there exactly what it is. And then a washer, and as you can see, it's pretty snug on there. And here's the little mounting brackets I made for it. They're just tack welded on at the moment. So yeah, here's what we got going on. We have the grommet that I cut off, and you can still see it has the lip here. It just sits into there. This comes in, and you have our washer. The washer I had to drill just slightly, that way the edge of this and fitting actually slides into it. I believe these are 1/2 inch diameter, inner diameter washers. But I drilled out just slightly larger. And then of course I would tighten this down all the way with a wrench, and that's how they're, this and both the fuel shut off is attached. What's up, guys? Of course, we didn't get as much as we wanted to done the other day, so we're gonna finish up today. But here's our fuel setup once again. It's looking pretty nice. I think we're actually gonna try to do today is mount our license plate bracket. So what's nice is because I originally had the dual shock rear end, I have these little pieces sitting off here, and it'll fit nicely over. But what I'm going to try to do is, you can see there's obviously some gap there, and some 3/4 inch tube will fit perfectly in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to just weld some so that it sits off, and then I might have to make something so it doesn't just drop down, because it's pretty heavy, and I don't think bolting this, even if I do it pretty tight, it's just going to hold it in this position. So I might have to figure out a way to kind of keep it at this angle. So this is what we got. We got our little spacer in there I made out of some 3/4 inch tube. Sits in there, got the magnet to keep it kind of level. And now we're gonna tack weld this and then see how it looks on the bike. So I was thinking I was gonna have to build something to keep this from flexing, but it looks like it's pretty good. There's a little bit of slop in it right now, but that's just because it's only tack welded on here. Okay, so we got this all welded up now. Yeah, looks good to me. Like I said, it's stable, it's not going anywhere. So next thing we're gonna do, and really the final thing I really wanted to get done this weekend, was finishing up these. I think I've showed you these already. We got finished by just mounting the last mount up here for that 3rd hole on this side, and then that'll be done on this side. And what I have to do is I have to make another one of these. I'm gonna do this off camera because it's gonna take me a while. I'm gonna cut this shape out kind of twice. There's this inside one, it's a little bit smaller. Cut out the stainless steel mesh, put it in between, and then kind of sandwich weld in between. Not the prettiest, of course, but it really won't be seen. I still need to work on my welding skills, but I'm not really good with the thin metal like this, the thin gauge steel. So what I did is just tack welded it, because I had to be careful with the stainless steel mesh. If I heat up any 1-2 area too much, it's gonna actually start just melting. So I had to do kind of more of a tack weld. So the side panels, I'm making these out of 22 gauge steel that I picked up at Home Depot. And to cut these pieces out, because I can do this with a cutoff wheel, but it leaves the edges usually pretty raw. This leaves it a lot nicer. So this is a Century Pneumatic Harbor Freight brand sheet metal shears. These work really great. Just be careful when you're using these. Work outside. The little pieces of metal that come off are extremely sharp, and my wife has a few times just walked out in the garage to do something and got some in her sandals and or in her feet and stuff, and then I usually sometimes even drag them in with my shoes and stuff. So if you're going to use these, be sure to work outside if you can with them. So as you can see now, what we do have here is the traced out pattern for where I'm going to cut it out. And to do that, all I'm going to do is grab a 1/2 inch drill bit, drill a hole that allows me to put my metal shears. Because obviously to start in the middle, you're going to need to be able to fit this down in there. I just always grab a 1/2 inch. It's not quite, but it's what it does. I'm going to cut this out. And then I'm going to clean it up with some hand files. The hardest one to get when doing this is this edge right here to make this so it's somewhat sharp. And then I have to do this again with a smaller piece for the backside and then cut out this. So let me get that all done, and once I have it all done, I'll show you how I tack weld it all together. Hey guys, so this is what we have now. I have it all clamped up. I think I'm actually going to redo the other one because as you see on this one there, I can't see the back plate through it. We're going to go ahead and tack weld that up right now. But unfortunately on this one, it's going to bother me now, but I can see the back piece. So I'm probably going to just cut those welds off, make another one of these, and then redo this one. That way I'm not seeing that through the mesh. We're almost done with these panels. As you can see, I have the brackets done here. The way I did this was when I actually had the panels. So this is the one I almost had done today, but I just had to finish up the last tab. What I would do is I would place it on the bike where I wanted, run some tape across here, and then I would just start making these brackets for them. Started with this one down here, move back here, and then up here. So I can see these are these three. I'm about to tack up the last and final tab on this side. And the way I do this is I just already have these in place. As you see, the tab is back here. And what I'm going to do is just, with one hand, with a glove on, of course, hold this into place and then tack weld from the back. These ones up here are fun to get with the MIG welder, trying to get around an angle back there. But as long as I get a single tack and then I undo it and weld it, or a few more tacks just to hold it in place till I finish up welding this frame. But once I get this tack welded up, I'll put the tank and everything on it and show you guys kind of what I was going with these. And this one looks a little bit better than the other side. I am gonna have to redo the backside bracket for the other one that holds in the stainless steel mesh, because this one looks beautiful. I can't see anything on the backside, but the other one you can. So eventually I'll have to cut those welds and redo.